Leicester City and Algeria winger Riyad Mahrez has been at the centre of speculation over the summer window after the player handed in a transfer request earlier in the summer. Having lifted the Premier League title with the Foxes and enjoying a successful run to the Champions League quarter-finals last season, interest from the likes of Arsenal and AS Roma have left questions hanging over his future.
Riyad Mahrez, inevitable I've got to ask you. I know you've been asked a lot about it in pre-season and I'm sorry. It's slightly different because he's the one who's handed in the transfer request. Are you worried about where his head's at, or are you happy with that his mind is with Leicester and on Leicester?
I can only speak on how I've found him so far coming back. I have to say he's been very focused. When I say driven, he hasn't given me one problem of pulling him to the side and saying, "Oi, pull your finger out." He hasn't. And while he does that, we know that he came out and said that he wants to leave. Until we get a bid and a bid's accepted that's reasonable for Leicester, then he stays there. And as soon as he stays focused, or as much as he can, he stays focused, then he'll be considered for selection.
Arsene Wenger has twice publicly said that he's a fan of Mahrez, but he doesn't know whether he's going to bid for him. Does that disappoint you a little bit that a manager of his calibre would be speaking publicly about one of your players?
No, because he was probably asked a question similar to what you're asking me, and I think you're trying to give an honest answer.
Yeah, you got me there, didn't you? But with that in mind, do you expect him to turn it on? He's at the Emirates. It's a big stadium. It's a big stage for him. That's when Riyad has always been at his best, and he knows that Wenger's a bit of a fan of his. I
expect us as a team to turn up and compete. It's, as you say, the opening game in the Premiership. I have to say the players have reported back. Their fitness levels have been really good. Their application has been really good. We've tried to get a bit of more sharpness in them of what players want, and they'll say going into the game. I think we've got the balance right by looking at them in terms of enough game time in them, enough fitness levels in them, and we've also had to deal with a couple of trips as well. So we've got the balance right, I feel, by looking at them and talking to them and getting some feedback from them. And it remains to be seen, as you say. It's we all know it's a results business, but we have to be ready for Friday.
On the Riyad Mahrez situation, would you consider benching him because of all this transfer speculation, or does that not come into your mind?
I think all things come into your mind, but what you want and what I've seen is a focus from him, a professional attitude from him, and as long as I get that, he'll be considered.
In other news, the Premier League welcomes a host of new African players ahead of the 2017-18 season. Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool will be looking to push for the title this season. The addition of former AS Roma winger Mohamed Salah adds pace and width to an already potent attack. Leicester City's capture of Kelechi Iheanacho for £25 million could be one of the transfers of the summer. The Nigerian made his name in the Premier League at Manchester City, but was deemed surplus to requirements by Pep Guardiola. Craig Shakespeare has been quoted as saying he could well be deployed alongside Jamie Vardy. At Newcastle United, Rafa Benitez has struggled in the transfer market, but the addition of Ghana international Christian Atsu on a permanent deal has given the Magpies a boost. Atsu made 32 league appearances, scoring 5 goals as Benitez's side lifted the Sky Bet Championship title. At Southampton, fans will be queuing up to see 23-year-old Gabon international Mario Lemina in action. The midfielder is a double Serie A and Coppa Italia winner from his time at Juventus and featured in last season's Champions League final against Real Madrid. At Manchester United, there have been no new African arrivals, but 27-18 could be a huge year for centre-back Eric Bailly. The Ivorian was instrumental in United's League Cup and Europa League successes and is expected to form a no-nonsense partnership with Swedish international Victor Lindelof. Bailly was Jose Mourinho's first ever signing at Old Trafford, and many would argue his most successful so far. The first round of Premier League fixtures sees Arsenal host Leicester City, Watford entertain Liverpool, Crystal Palace versus newly promoted Huddersfield, West Brom at home to Bournemouth, Everton against Stoke City, a clash between Southampton and Swansea City, defending champions Chelsea meet Burnley, newcomers Brighton host Manchester City, Tottenham visit Newcastle, and Manchester United take on West Ham.